Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on how to eliminate multiple platforms for school administration. We're going to be introducing an all-in-one educational administrative platform, and I want to introduce the speakers for this webinar. On the call with me, we have Artem from Junica.
Hi all, my name is Artem and I'm managing Junica project. I'm very happy to see you all and thanks for joining.
Thanks, Artem. And finally, our guest is Dan Weber. He's a high school principal. Go ahead, Dan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dan Weber. I'm a high school principal on the East Coast in the United States. I'm really excited to be part of this project and excited to work with this group. And we look forward to a great presentation.
Thanks, Daniel. We're super excited to have you here. Thanks, Artem, as well. So let's start by who we are and why are we doing this webinar. So Junica is actually a team of technical people, and we're getting backed by a panel of educational experts like Daniel, one of our guests. And what that's helping us do is shape this school management system in a way that is built by educational experts for educational experts. And we're just the techie guys putting it all together according to your actual needs, according to what's actually the process that is needed. So not what we think you guys need, but actually the experts telling us, hey, it needs to work like this, and we create it that way. So that's what Junica is, and our low-code technology allows us to create customized solutions for each of the schools. We know schools are different. You have public, private schools, you have learning centers. So we're creating that solution that can be customized for each school, and at the same time making it flexible so any type of school can use it, from very big to very small schools. So one more thing before I pass the microphone over to Daniel is that we are going to be having polls throughout the webinar. So please engage, please make sure to help us answer those questions that we have for you guys. And okay, let's go to Daniel. Take it away.
Thank you, Angelica. So on this particular slide, you're going to see statistics with regards to how difficult it is to manage different platforms and interfaces that we have to do as administrators. These are numbers that I don't have to tell you about because we all experience these on a day-to-day basis. So a couple of things just to make sure that when we're looking at this new platform and the idea of this low-code interface, what we're trying to do is eliminate the pain points and the frustrations that we as administrators experience on a day-to-day basis. Some of these things are very apparent. Some we become more accustomed to over our time period. So it's one of those things where we don't even know how difficult these can be over time until you start looking at the possibility of a single interface, a single sign-on. So some things that I just want to kind of touch on real quick here. Obviously, the price point is something that from a budgetary standpoint of district, we're always looking at how we can streamline some things. And one of the things that's in there is not just the overall cost of this, but the cost of time. And so all of these pieces that we're talking about here are meant to improve and make us more efficient and increase the amount of time that we're able to allocate towards what we actually need to do. So one of the things that's very exciting to me about the low-code avenue is it allows us to customize and personalize some of these things. So I'm going to talk to everybody about what are some of the different interfaces that we become accustomed to on a day-to-day basis. But if you look at these numbers, these are numbers that we really don't have to go over with you in great detail because we all live this every single day. So you know these things are there. Just the amount of time that we're allocating to these, the amount of effort that we have to do to train our staff every time we get a new piece of technology and software, working with your tech department to integrate in so the outputs are equal to each other and they talk to each other. All those things are challenges. So I'm going to put on this slide, which is going to show you some of the different management systems that you might already be using at your school. So if you look at this, and this is just a small sampling of them. Many of the ones that you're using probably aren't even on here, but it gives you kind of this perspective. On a day-to-day basis, I sign into probably about 7 or 8 different interfaces, everything from an event manager to a trip finder. We use Frontline to manage our professional development and things that teachers have to maintain, as well as I do as well. But then there's the student information system, there's a learning management system, then there's your school management system, there's your attendance tracker, all these different things. So on a day-to-day basis, you have all of these different interfaces, and depending on how they extract data, you might have to turn around and say, I need a completely different platform just for extracting the data and using it in that capacity. So all of those things become cumbersome in the day-to-day interface, and over time it leads to hours and hours of usage, hours and hours of work that aren't really necessary in what we do in our day-to-day business. So what Junica is trying to do is create a platform that makes us much more simplistic, and look at what are the things that we have to deal with on a daily basis. So here's an example of and you can introduce whatever your particular software packages are that you're using at your school, and kind of get a really broad and general idea of what does this look like on my day-to-day basis, and how much time am I spending on these things. So I encourage you to think about this from the lens of, now I have the opportunity to take this new idea and look at the drawbacks of my multiple platforms, and instead say, if I have a low-code opportunity, it allows me to customize what I'm doing, so specific to my school. Because if there was a perfect learning management system out there, if there's a perfect student information system out there, we would all use that, correct? There's not one that's universal, because every school has different needs. Every school has particular data that's important to them. And so as we look at this idea, this allows you as a school to say, you know what, I'm going to customize this according to what I need. And now this program can evolve over time to what I need it to be as I keep pulling this data. In Pennsylvania, which is where I'm located, we have Act 339 as well as 158, which are important for students to reach the graduation requirements. So there's data collection that we have to maintain. Well, the data that I need to collect here in my school, and that's really important to our profile of a graduate and what we do, might be very different than the district next door to me. It might be very different from the schools on the West Coast, and that's okay. The problem is that with a lot of the platforms that we use, they don't take that into consideration. It's pretty much here's a one size fits all. Additionally, a lot of those groups, they bring in outside programs, and they might introduce them into theirs. They might have a beta version, or they might purchase them, but that doesn't mean that the programs sync well together or talk nicely. So even if there's one umbrella that from a cost standpoint, it helps a little bit, there's still multiple interfaces you have to engage with. That means you have to train your staff on all of them. You have to acclimate to the different language that's on each one, and it becomes really cumbersome. It can become very, very challenging. And then, unfortunately, sometimes when those things get bought in, they become obsolete pretty quickly. I think we've seen this with a couple of them without mentioning some of those. So you can see from this particular one, again, it's time consuming with all the training that has to go on. The flexibility begins to disappear when you start buying into them. I know we've had some difficulties with our programs where they won't upgrade until you purchase into the next one, which increases your costs. And again, when you have all of these different platforms, it becomes a security risk for you as well, because now you have all these different emails that can potentially be utilized and hacked through social engineering, etc. So as you go through this process, I want you to think about it from the standpoint of, you have the opportunity to customize this entire program to meet the needs of your school and what you're trying to do as an administrator. And having something that can evolve over time is really, really exciting for me. So I'm excited to be part of this project, because it allows me to kind of lend my voice, give my perspective on the things that are in it. How you go about data mining, how to utilize that, how to give that data back to students, to parents, to the teachers in your school. And so this is a really exciting endeavor. So I encourage you to ask more questions as you're going through this process, see what are different things that this program has to offer for you and your school.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Well, just like Daniel mentioned, we are a low-code platform, and we use this technology to create the school management system. And now with this all-in-one educational administrative platform, this is going to help you streamline those administrative processes, enhance communication and collaboration, improve the academic management, and minimize errors and discrepancies, because now you're going to have all this data that's going to be centralized, and it's just not going to be on many different platforms. So, like Daniel mentioned, the school administrative technical stack kind of looks like this. You have many different applications that work or are for different things. and they don't connect with each other. So that makes it very complicated for, the school principal or a teacher to track what's going on to make sure that you have the correct information. So Junica is looking to replace all of those different systems. So you just have to use one. And now I'm going to show you what the roles are. The business administrator, this is a person that has access to absolutely everything. And we have the teacher, parent and guardian, and the student users. So now let's dive into Junica. Let's take a look at what the platform actually looks like. Awesome. So what we're looking at now is the business administrator homepage. Like I said, this is the person that has access to absolutely everything. So first thing that I want to mention is because this is low code technology, this can be fully customized. So depending on your needs, your homepage can look completely different from what is here right now. But this is just an example of what it can actually do. You can have a section here for your student registration, lesson assignments, your top 4 buttons up here, what you look at every day mostly. So now let's take a look at the menu. Right here is a section where will be your student information system. So it houses all the information for the students, your parent guardians, your teachers. So this is the student information system part. You can add login credentials when you create a new student user profile or a parent. Then if we scroll down a little bit more, now you have your learning management system, which houses all this information regarding turning in assignments, creating the assignments, having them graded, and exams too. So if we scroll down, you can see we have the programs, we have different classes that can be created. You can create a timetable, you can create your exams, you can look at the exams, you can grade the exams as well. And then you have your study materials. So teachers are able to upload information as well for students to have access to later on. If we scroll down a little bit more, now we have the school management system part where you have your information regarding the school, any invoices that might be pending, your academic terms, your analytics, general, attendance, discipline, financials, all this just within Junica. So you don't have to look at different platforms and grab all this information and then put it into one. It's all going to be here. We also have a communication hub, so that alone takes care of another platform that many of the schools are using to communicate with parents. Now, let's go into the homepage and I'll show you everything else as we go. We won't go into absolutely everything because we just won't have time. But just to get started and do a quick overview of the homepage, let's take a look at the different types of information that we have available within the homepage. So you can see you can have a chart right away. You want to go in, first thing that you want to see, maybe it's your daily attendance tracking. So you have your chart, you'll have your filters. Then on the right side, then you'll have your student registration, maybe what's processing, anything that's been denied. So you have access to that right away. You have some quick general analytics here. And then at the top, we added maybe the top 4 buttons that principals check on a daily basis. So let's take a look at analytics a little deeper. Awesome. The first thing that you can see is that you have all this different type of charts. So the system allows you to have your charts in bar graphs, pie charts, line graphs. It just depends on what your needs are. So this would be your general analytics. You can see that we added a programs chart, enroll students information, all of the classes that you might have. Filters are available as well. And then looking into attendance, and as you can see, this is just one page. So we're not jumping from tab to tab. So that again, it just saves you that time that is so valuable. But let's look at this attendance. And like I said, you have all your different type of charts here. You have your filters as well. One of the cool things is that you can actually click on those charts. So let's click on the pie chart here, and you're going to get that detailed information about the section that you just clicked. You can see the student's information, and then by just clicking on the student ID, you're going to have a little pop-up window. Again, it's not going to take you to another tab. It's not going to take you anywhere else, but it's just a little pop-up window with all of the student's information. So now you have within reach all the student information from their contact info to their parents' information, their attendance to be more specific. You can look at the report card as well. You can print that information. You can also look at their class enrollment, discipline, again, which this takes care of another platform that many schools use, and the list goes on. So you have access to all of this again within that same tab. So let's actually go up now and let's look into discipline analytics. Again, like I said, this is mostly a new app or a different app that schools are using. So now you have it within Junica. Again, you have your different charts and you can customize to what you need. So as a principal, maybe you need to go in and the first thing that you want to see here is how many suspensions there are for the day. How many suspended students we have in this specific school. So you can create that chart for you and you can have that information here as a pie chart, as a bar graph, just depends on what you want. You will have your filters as well. So let's scroll down a little bit. Again, I can just click on my student ID, double click to look at the information, and we can go into the discipline tab and we can actually look at the history. So what happened, where did it happen, who was involved, what type of incident level was this, what was the sanction. So you can look at that here, and you can also click here and create a new report. So now let's go back and we can take a look at our financial analytics. This would be, for maybe private schools, you can have the information here for tuition payments, how the school is doing in that area. But then also for public school, this could be used for events. If you're having a fundraising event, if you're having a field trip, all this information can be added into here. And this platform actually allows for parents to pay online. We have a Stripe integration, so parents can actually pay with their cards within the platform. So they can pay for tuition, they can pay for all of these events that I just mentioned, and then you'll have the information displayed right here as well. Great. So now let's go into the menu. Let's scroll down a little bit more. And what I want to show you is the communication hub. This is a very big part because we understand that parent engagement is not doing pretty good now. Parents are not looking at their kids' information. And this could be due to several problems, but one of them is that the platforms are just too hard to use for them, or that they are actually given access to two or more different platforms. One for them to check grades, one for them to look at the bus information, one for them to take a look at, I don't know, payments maybe. So again, now this would be into one. Teachers will have access to contact parents in this way as well. So looking at this section now, we have the email part. So you can send mass emails to several groups, and I'll show you right now what that looks like. So if you have different schools, you can pick the specific school you want to send this. If you're just one school, this section can be eliminated so it's not confusing. Now going into the groups, you can actually send the emails to specific groups. So if you just want to send this letter to the parents or you just want to send this to teachers, you can pick them, or if you want to add multiple, you can do so as well. And you also have template access. So you can create as many templates as you need, and then teachers can actually just pick and choose what is going to work best for them. So let's pick announcements. The information gets filled out on its own. You have the subject and you have the information, and then teachers just have to type what the right information is for that specific announcement. Attach a file, that's something that you can do as well. And then you send the email to your parents or your teachers, whoever you picked. Now, let's go into this section here. You can actually see the history. You can see as a business admin who sent the email, who was it that sent that announcement, when it was sent, what it was about, the email body, and then who it went out to. So that's something that you would have access to. And as part of the communication tool, we can look into a messages section, which actually allows us to have those instant chats with personal, could be so a teacher and teacher. Maybe you're a principal, you want to have a quick chat with the teacher. A group chat can be available too. So if maybe you want to have a chat with a principal, teacher, and a parent, that can be done as well. And we also added a feature for the call room. So this is a video conference tool. So if you need to have that call with a parent who can't come into the school, you can just have that video conference call here, and it's not going to cost you extra. You don't have to use an additional platform like Zoom, Google Meets, or any other platform out there for communication. So you can just use here, and all the information is going to be tracked here. So when did it happen? When it was, you can have the links, the recording links as well. You'll have access to those as well. And again, this takes over that extra communication tool. So now let's go into what our parents, teachers, and students user actually looks like. All right, so let's log in as a teacher. And let's take a look at the dashboard. At the first thing that I'm going to see, my homepage. So my homepage, again, this can be customized to what the school wants me to see. So as a school, maybe I want my teacher to see, first thing is attendance, for them to be able to track attendance. So I can actually get rid of this section here and add that part so my teachers don't have to be confused, and they just can go in and add that information. They also have access to the exams. They can look at the lesson assignments that they might have coming up, right? If you look at the menu on the left, their menu is a lot shorter than the business admin because you're going to be able to restrict access to only what they need. Now, like I said, they have access to communication hub. They can send messages as well. And this is all the learning management part that they're going to be able to create those assignments, set up due dates, grade them, and so on. And now let's actually take a look at what a parent is going to see. So this is going to be, again, that replacement for all those different tools that they might be using, because here they can communicate, they can receive the notifications, they can see what's happening with their kids. So if I'm a mom and I have 3 kids, I can have all of my kids within one single signing. So I don't have to have different signing and emails for each of my students, which I know it's sometimes the case. But now I have this all in one. As a private school, maybe I want them to see if they have any pending tuition payments. So I can have this section here. But maybe I also want to add a section where I want them to see their kids' attendance. How are they doing? Are they attending their classes like they're supposed to? Is there a kid that has multiple tardies? As a parent, I can review that and I can be on top of my things. Again, my menu is going to be much shorter, but I can see my kids' classes. I can see if they have any assignments coming up. I can see their exam schedule. I can see when they're going to have that big exam. So that's going to help me as a parent be more engaged. And then I have my top options here. So if you're a public school or private school that has additional classes, after school programs, as a parent, I can go in, take a look, and make a payment if I want my kids to join. So that's just going to depend on what the school wants the parent to see. Now let's take a look at what a student would actually be able to see. So logging in as a student, I'm going to be able to see my assignments. What assignments do I have coming up? What are my due dates? What classes are there for? I do have a calendar as well. So I have that visual part where it's going to be easier for me to identify my days and my classes. Maybe as a student, I don't need to see my student attendance. So as a school, I can get rid of this section and maybe add their grades right away. How are you doing this quarter? How are you doing for the semester? So that is something that you're going to be able to do as a business admin for the students to be able to see exactly what you want them to. Again, my menu is going to be a lot more shorter because I only have access to what is needed. I can look at my exams. What is coming up? When do I have to start them? And my lesson assignments, I can see that I have an essay that is due. All I have to do is click, and it's going to open up a tab, and it's going to give me all of the information for my assignment. I'm going to have the description. I can start my assignment right here and my attached files if I want to upload. Now, important, we know that there are schools that are Google schools and they have their Chromebooks and they use Google Classroom. So this platform can actually integrate with Google Classroom and just pull the data from there. So as a teacher, you don't have to go jump between platforms. It's all going to be within one. So that's one of the cool parts about this technology, because the integrations with different systems, it's so easy and simple that it's not going to cause any issues when you are jumping back and forth, because it's not going to have you do that. So, like I said, we won't have time to go over everything, but I do want to point out benefits of this all in one approach. So, again, you have those streamlined workflows, you have that improved access and convenience, so you don't have to be juggling many platforms, data security, because now your information is just in one place, it's not all over the place. You can streamline that reporting and those analytics because you don't have to be jumping between different platforms, pulling the information from all and then putting it together. Now it's all together in one. And then you have that enhanced engagement and collaboration because parents can engage, students, teachers can engage, and of course, our technology actually allows this to be more affordable. So you have that cost savings and efficiency. So now I'm going to pass this over to Artem so he can talk more about these benefits. Go ahead, Artem.
Thank you very much, Angelica. Today we have discussed important topics, including challenges in school administration and the potential software solutions. Angelica showed us how it may look like using Junica platform. Now, I will talk a little bit about change management, efficiency, and of course, cost effectiveness, the budget for making those changes. So, introducing changes in schools typically comes along with risks such as potential failures of the software as well, with the resistance from the colleagues, and of course, budget limitations. To address all of these, we at Junica have developed a risk free 4 step approach. Step one is the evaluation. Here, by gaining the access to our platform, you can evaluate our school management solution, tell us what you like, what you dislike, and maybe you see some gaps. Now, here also, you might have some ideas of what could be the unique processes that you want to support, or what are the key processes that could represent the change for the rest of your colleagues or stakeholders. And on step two, on the next step, we would need to do that anyhow, because without a quick win, we cannot gain full support from all of the stakeholders that you need to approve the budget, to prepare your colleagues for the change, and to work with risks and the barriers to making those changes. So, on step two, our team will hear you out, will brainstorm with you about the most important processes in your school or educational organization. We will create a document like in the format of requirements, and then we can go to a step three. That step is mostly done on our end because our team will configure, will customize our Junica platform to your needs and will prepare a demo that you can show to the rest of the colleagues. You can give approval and their support to go to the final step, which is full implementation. Here, after gathering all the support needed and the feedback and the improvements from our team, because we will be constantly working on the solution that you're about to implement, we would need your approval to allocate a budget to transform your organization comprehensively. Regarding costs, our analysis shows that Junica can save at least half of a long-term budget. And all of this because you're eliminating multiple tools that you're paying for right now. And it doesn't really matter how much do you exactly spend on each tools. I won't go deeply into each tool that you might use and spend money for. But here I want to emphasize that during the first 2 or 3 years, there might be a situation that you're using old software and new software in parallel. And that means that you need to allocate additional resources and a budget to maintain both old software and new software. And we think that it's a very reasonable approach because all if you just switch off old software, and new software is not stable enough or fully support all that you need and all of the processes that you have in mind. And for that, you need to allocate this additional budget. And normally, that's the main barrier for schools to make the change because the decision makers and the project managers, they realize that all of those risks are not covered and they won't have this additional resources to put into the project. And having this savings, this significant savings, if you choose Junica platform, that will allow you to make the transition smooth and switch from the old software to a new software gradually, and maybe even maintain the integrations with the software that you don't want to stop using. So, in summary, I would like to say that we have a software, we have a school management solution which is ready for evaluation. And we have flexible pilot options. We have SaaS and on premise. So if you're concerned with the sensitive data management and you're not ready to do a pilot in SaaS version, we can discuss on premise. But then you would, of course, need the support of your IT team. Then we would need IT admin who will help us to install Junica at your servers and maintain it. We are backed up by low-code technology, so we have a very rapid configuration, and it doesn't mean that you would need to configure something, but it will allow us to get this very quick win at the start and move forward faster than all the alternatives exist in the market. We also have a versatile support. We have advanced features to support any type of school, private school, public school, learning center, and you can manage all of them in one platform. It might be very handy for superintendents who are responsible for a district and multiple schools. And also, if you're a school architect or a school consultant who is working on launching a new school or maybe transforming the existing school to something new, and then you need some special processes to be supported by the software, Junica is your best choice because obviously there is no software, or most likely there is no software that supports unique processes out of the box. We also have a personalized configurations. It means that we can white label, we can put label of your school into the software to make it more personalized. And as I said, we can support unique processes, which is very important. And finally, I talked a lot about risk-free implementation approach that we in Junica developed, and we believe that using that, we can move on with the implementations more efficiently and manage the changes in a safe way. By the way, I see that there are a lot of business analysts who joined this webinar. Thank you very much for the interest as well. And for you guys, we also would be very happy to grant access to our Junica platform and school management solution. Just reach out to us and we would be happy to grant the access and maybe onboard you, make like a Q&A sessions with you. We encourage you to join us, explore the potential of a Junica platform. And if you're already working on the project with the educational organization, or you're planning to, again, we would be very happy to help you out and work together. So thank you all for staying until the end of the webinar. I hope to see you among our pilot users. And back to you, Angelica.
Artem, thank you so much. Now, moving on to the final part of this webinar, we want to invite you to request a pilot with us and work together one-on-one to create that school management solution that's perfect for your school. So please register. Make sure you take a look at the QR code, go into the page, enter your details, and we'll be in contact with you to work on this pilot and discuss the next steps. Thank you so much, everyone who joined. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.